I have a question for you. As a guy that played tight end in a time where football was a much more physical sport, I could say, do you have any opinion on like the athletes today, like Rob Gronkowski or Andrew Luck retiring early because of injury or injury concerns?
I think that, it's a new mentality amongst some of the younger guys. I think they're taking better care of themselves, which is not a bad thing. But, as an old-timer, it's kind of hard to understand how guys can walk away from, an opportunity like playing in the NFL when you don't have to. I mean, our motto back in the day was make them drag you out kicking and screaming. So to see guys willingly walk away from the game, it's a little new to me, but I'm getting used to it, and it's probably for the better.
Yeah. So, I mean, I think also now you have a lot more rules in play where you can't get as hurt, So, I mean, you see, like, the player for the Raiders, Vontaze Burfict, got suspended for the entire year because he hit a guy on the helmet. Meanwhile, I think in the 80s, that would have been a play nobody batted their eyes at. So, it's a different league. But speaking of that, now I think also you see tight ends more, which is your position. They're more of hybrids where they're running and they're receiving more than they're actually blocking. Would you prefer to play in a game like this, or did you like it back then when it was a little bit more physical?
Well, I preferred it more physical because that's football. If I wanted a more athletic type of game, I probably would have played basketball, which I never did play because I couldn't figure out how to be more athletic than aggressive. So I was always fouling out. So I got to the point where I just said, I don't like this game, and I stopped playing. Football is supposed to be physical. You're supposed to be hitting people. I mean, that's the whole point of the game. So would I like it or not in today's game? I mean, I'm not sure because I would have grown up in this era. It would not have seemed any different to me. And the money today is so ridiculous that I think I could overcome any objections I had to the game not being as physical as I would like it. You know what I mean?
I get you. So another one I have to say. So one of the things about people that like really admired about you was that your work ethic and your humility, and that's something that you're praised about a lot. Is there any player today that reminds you of you with these kinds of traits?
To be honest with you, I don't watch it enough to know the personalities of the players or the backgrounds of how they work or how they approach the game. I think Rob Gronkowski had a good reputation for hard work. As goofy as he appeared on the surface, I think he was a very hard worker. He took the game seriously. He took his craft very seriously. I don't really know much more background than of any other players that I've seen recently. But I will say I like this kid, George Kittle. I think I mentioned this to you before, from the San Francisco 49ers. I like the way he plays. He's very aggressive, very enthusiastic about blocking. He's a great receiver. To me, I would look at a kid like that who plays like that and just assume that he has a great work ethic. And I haven't seen him play much this year, but I would expect big things from him in the future.
Do you have a most memorable play in high school, college, or the pro level?
Well, the most memorable play I have is because people keep reminding me of it, and they keep showing it, is that 49er game where I caught a ball on a Monday night game and dragged some tacklers down the field for a pretty nice gain. So I remember that one, and as you get older, you kind of forget most of the other ones. But I had some pretty good plays that I always thought were better than that play. I can't really recall them offhand, but I'm just glad that 30-plus years later, someone remembers a play at all. So I mean, that's pretty nice honor.
Right. With that, is there a play that you wish you could have done over?
There was one play in Super Bowl 21 where Sims threw a ball that bounced off my helmet, So Phil McConkey ended up catching it. So it was a nice thing for Phil, who's a good friend of mine. So I was very happy for him. But I think if I had to do it over again, I think I would have concentrated a little more and tried to make the catch myself and score the touchdown myself instead of Phil. It would have been nice to have 2 touchdowns in a Super Bowl. But I'm happy it worked out that way. But other regrets I really don't have, no.
So I got now that we're like towards the end of this, as a guy that, you know, it's been a lot of years out of the league, and you know, you're a family man, you're a religious man. Do you ever look back and think, like, getting out of the league, like, would you have prolonged it more than you have, or like, was life after football a good thing? Like, do you enjoy it?
Yeah, I enjoy my life after football. I have a lot of bumps and bruises. I have a lot of physical issues and things like that. I mean, I just had my knee replaced and my shoulder replaced this winter, so that was a tough year, but I'm getting better from that. I'm feeling better. But no, I don't have any regrets. I don't wish I didn't play football. I don't wish that I had done things differently. I like the way it happened. I wouldn't want to go back and change anything. I'm very happy. I'm not one of those guys who say they wish they'd never played football. Not yet, anyways, you know. But maybe in the next few years, I might change my mind. But right now, I'm very happy with that.
And one last question. So you played on that Giants football team where you had the Big Blue Wrecking Crew defense. Going against those guys every day, like Lawrence Taylor, do you think that sharpened you as a player?
Absolutely. Yep. Practicing against Lawrence Taylor and Carl Banks and Andy Hedden and Byron Hunt and Harry Carsons and Gary Reasons and Pepper Johnson and Leonard Marshall. Those things, you know, you couldn't help. Well, you were either going to get better or you were going to be out of the league pretty soon. So, you know, the old saying, what doesn't kill you makes you stronger. So I survived the beginnings of having to practice against those guys, and it didn't kill me, and it did make me better. And I always said that the games on Sundays were a lot easier than the practices on Wednesdays. So that was kind of at the time it was tough to take, but, you know, it was a blessing in disguise. You know, it helped me become a better player for sure.
That's awesome. And you were under Bill Belichick during the Giants and for a short time in Cleveland. Do you think he is the greatest coach to ever live?
Yeah, I think there's no question that he is the greatest coach in NFL history. I mean, it's just from a production standpoint, I don't see how you can argue that. And he's not finished. I mean, he's still going. I still haven't seen any evidence that any other coach in this league can beat him, except for, you know, when Tom Coughlin he's the only one who matched up to him from a coaching standpoint. Some other teams beat the Patriots in those years, but they just, you know, it was just kind of a luck of the draw, you know, kind of a lucky play here or there. But I've never seen any coach out-coach Bill Belichick, and I don't see any coach on the horizon that's going to do it. I think that he is going to continue to dominate the NFL for as long as he wants to.
All right. Well, I really appreciate your time, and thank you again for calling in.
No problem. Thanks for talking to me. I had a great time. I wish you guys well with your podcast.
Thank you. You too.
Really appreciate it. You have a great day. Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
All right, everybody. So for those of you guys that were listening, that was Giants Ring of Honor tight end Mark Bavaro. Pretty awesome for him to call in. So, yeah, we really appreciate it. I don't know. Not that often do you get someone like that.
Right. That's a great first look inside a great tight end for the Giants during a time when we had an elite defense and we won 2 Super Bowls. So
Janoris Jenkins wouldn't have cut it back then. All right. Well, everyone. I'm Augustino.
And I'm Steve.
Thanks for listening to The Touchdown.